Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's preview, as Scotland take on France, the third round of the 2022 Six Nations. Very much a business round and very much a moving round because victories, losses at this point in the competition have big ramifications. For example, if Scotland were to do the impossible and beat France, that would blow up the entire competition. That would mean that everybody has lost at least one game, and all of a sudden the race for the Six Nations becomes very interesting. However, a win by France really sort of puts them, two games away from a Grand Slam, and that's suddenly very much, one hand on the trophy type stuff. And you got England and Wales taking on each other, and then Ireland taking on Italy. So there's still quite a few teams which could compete for the Six Nations, but they need a result out of this game. And it is in Scotland, so Murrayfield is a difficult place to go. However, this French side looks like a side that is very, very tough to beat, and are playing some very good rugby at the moment. Before we look at the two sides, please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. The home side, of course, is Scotland, and this is how they will be lining up. A couple of changes to the side. First of all, in the front row, Zander Ferguson returns to the number 3 jersey, which sees VPNL drop down to the bench. So he joins Stuart McInally as well as Pierre Schoeman in that front row. In the second row, you've got Sam Skinner and Grant Gilchrist. And then Rory DARGE gets his first ever start for Scotland, and he joins Hamish Watson and Magnus Bradbury. No Matt Ferguson this weekend, who is injured, which is a big loss to Scotland. So I think that he's been one of their best players over the first two rounds of the Six Nations. But it's a decent pack. It's a very decent pack. I think they've got everything you need. It's reasonably experienced. With the exception of Rory DARGE, everyone's played 15, 17 caps for games for Scotland at least. So there's experience there. In fact, I think Pierre Schoeman hasn't played that many games, but he's been around the block for quite a while. But it's the back line that really is exciting, isn't it, for Scotland, because if you give these guys chance, if you give these guys space, they can punish any team, and Ali Price, Finn Russell, that halfback combination, those two, when they have a good game, Scotland are a different side. And you've got to start getting your best players into good positions. You've got to start seeing Dylan Van der Merwe scoring tries again. We need to start seeing Darcy Graham continue what he's been doing, and keep giving the ball. Stuart Hogg, for me, you talk about the idea of a passion merchant, players who thrive on the occasion, thrive on the energy. He's that kind of player. Scotland go and get an early try, for example, and he starts playing well. When he plays well, I genuinely think he's the best fullback in the world. When he's playing at his best, he can do things that other fullbacks can't. I think that he is one of those players. And obviously, there's lots of very talented fullbacks out there. But I do think that he can be a bit of an outrageous fullback at times. He just does things that others wouldn't or maybe even shouldn't. But when he's playing well, especially in a Scottish shirt, Stuart Hogg, the Scotland fullback, when he's playing well, is a different breed. And then you've got to have support in the two centres with Serena Tuipulotu and Chris Harris, which is form. And I think Chris Harris is a fantastic operator. And I think he's got a big job ahead of him, being next opposite Gael Fickou, who is probably one of the best centres in the world at the moment. Off the bench for the Scots, it's George Turner, Ollie Cable, and VPNL. You've then got Jamie Hodgson and Nick Haining, and then Ben White, Blair Kinghorn, but Mark Bennett comes into the side on the bench as well. If you're looking at the French, not too many changes for them, just a bit of one change, and then with that, a bit of a positional change in the back line. But so up front, it'll still remain as Cyril Baille, Julien Marchand, and Oni Antonio. And front row battles in Europe are not quite like what we see them in the Southern Hemisphere. I think they're a lot more even when it comes to scrum time. It's not very often that you see scrums being absolutely decimated. I think that they are technically probably a little bit more sound and a different sort of type of forward and type of front row as well. But, for example, like the likes of Cyril Baille, he's one of the best loose heads in the world. If you look at the second row, you've got the likes of Cameron Wacky and Paul Willems, the South African-born lock, and then you've got Francois Crows, Anthony Gelange, and Gregory Aldred. I'm a huge Gregory Aldred fan. Such a nice player to watch. He's got everything in his locker, everything you'd want in an eighth man. He has in abundance. And then probably the most exciting halfback combination we're seeing in World Rugby at the moment of Antoine Dupont and Romain Ntamack, who play their rugby at the same franchise. They then do it for France, and when those two are playing well, France become a very fun side to watch. And I think that's always been the case with France. They're a fun side. They play attractive rugby. They play rugby that other teams couldn't. And when they're playing at their best, they really are a very entertaining side to watch. And they are complemented, the likes of Dupont and Ntamack, with some very good talent around them. So Jonathan Dainty, for example, is back from injury. He returns to the centres. This sees Yoram Moefana move on to the wing. Gael Fickou will start at outside centre as is a custom. And then you've got Damien Penaud and Malvin Jaminet at 14 and 15. So much X factor, so much talent, so much pace, so much flair in the French backline that it's a pleasure to watch. But in many ways, an open game suits both these sides. You know, I think both these backlines with space are very devastating, and it'll be interesting to see game plan wise, you know, how they allow or try and sort of not allow each other the space that they've got. Off the bench, you've got Peter Muvaka, Jean-Baptiste Bourros, Demba Bamba as your front row replacement. You've got Romain Toafa Finau, Thibaut Clement, Dylan Cretin, Maxime Lusso, and Thomas Ramos as the replacements for the French. Now, so let me know what your score predictions are. You got to go with France, don't you? They are in the Grand Slam. That's what they're there to do. They're there to try and go all the way, win every single match, and get that Grand Slam victory. Can they do it? Well, they've got to get past Scotland first, then they've got to go to France, and then they've got to welcome Wales. So, England and Wales. So they've got lots still to do France, but I think that it's a side that on their day they can beat anyone in the world, and that's what's making them early favourites, for example, for the 2023 World Cup. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.